It seems that Localisers are striking again. This time, they're removing the word race and introducing the word tribe. As you can see here, only a few members of our tribe survived the purge. The Saiyan tribe is yet another push to the brink of extinction. Now, what's interesting, and the reason that I want to focus on this, is that I have seen the word tribe also used in Final Fantasy, and we talked about that. The explanation is that the censors, the chuckleheads that are doing these things, they go to seminars, and at the seminars, they're not allowed to ask questions. They're not allowed to do anything else besides obey, like good little slaves. And then they go out to various companies, various institutions, and they just apply the absolute dogshit nonsense that their academic professor told them. Even though if it's completely disconnected from reality, even though it makes a mockery out of them, they don't fucking care. I mean, Dragon Ball has been insanely popular with people of color in the United States. Like, there's no debate about it. And not only that, it's popular around the world, especially popular in places like Mexico, right? For some reason, it has almost no representation, and the one that it has with Mr. Popo, it's incredibly offensive. Yet, black people love Dragon Ball. In fact, if you go on YouTube and you search like some of the best anime review channels, you're going to see that it's black people on the top of the charts, right? Because they're very passionate about this. And even though Dragon Ball has been out for years, not a single person has ever complained about the concept of race being used. Because it's not even the same concept that we're using in day-to-day speech, right? It's not like black person, white person. It's literally like a different alien species. That's what they're talking about. So it's not used in a racist manner, but again, like, if the academic professor told them this, they have to believe it. If the academic professor tells them to jump down a well, they will. Now, in this situation, the word that's being used doesn't make any sense. Like, when you think about the tribe, first of all, you think about something small, right? Something secluded. Definitely, like, not the group of an entire people on a planet. Vegeta would never use this word. Like, his pride would simply not allow it. And furthermore, it was already established a couple of years ago in the case of Wrath of the Lich King, I believe, where they decided that the word tribe shouldn't be used because something Indian American something. Like this is maddening. Again, like, they are so disconnected. They don't give a single fuck about what the people think. They don't give a single fuck about what the customer thinks. And they just, I don't even know, like, how they decide these things. Like, why did they pull it from that? I want to see the asshole. Like, how big is the asshole? Because at one point, they need to run out of things to complain about. Like it's been more than 5 years and they still find things to complain about. So it's baffling. Like, where do they keep finding this shit? But of course, they do need to find this shit in order to justify their paycheck. Because the moment they run out of stuff to censor, then there would be no need for them, and it's a very lucrative business. I mean, the grift just keeps on going. Some people say that they waited for Mr. Akira to pass away so that they trash his work. I don't think that's the case. I think they would have trashed it anyway. Like, most Japanese people don't even know the localization, and I fully understand them. Like, ever since I'm making my own game and I translated it into Japanese, the Japanese translator can literally do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I would have no idea. I mean, the symbols look like Stargate symbols to me. You know, they're little kanjis. They look like Stargate symbols. I wouldn't be able to judge or assess or anything like that. And then, you know, like, you do want localization because some things just sound bad if translated directly. So you do need a person that actually uses the slang and tries to incorporate it into the way that a person from that target language speaks. But in this situation, like, you notice that they're doing it on purpose because for all these years, it was the Saiyan race. Like, it's so iconic. It's like, when you think of Dragon Ball, you think about the Saiyan race. And to change it now, for no reason whatsoever, it's 100% ideological. And as I mentioned before, you notice it being changed in other mediums, right, from other companies that have nothing to do with the manga, and it's literally the exact same word. Again, I'm curious, like, they're going to start developing a completely new language now. They're going to just, like, change words after words until language is going to be so completely different. My favorite take is that whenever you look at fantasy, like you look at Dungeons and Dragons or even Star Trek, like places that have different races, they are sanitizing it so fucking much to the point where you don't really have races and it's just humans. But in the case of Dragon Ball, this is the extent of their power. Like, this is literally what they can do. They can change a couple of words and a couple of lines and call it a day. But when you look at Dungeons and Dragons, there's literally no more difference between elves and dwarves. And, like, they're all genetic. It's literally just like average humans doing human things. The best example that I can give with this is if you guys played the latest Age of Wonders. So, like, in the latest Age of Wonders, races are just purely cosmetical. They have no lore, they have no background, they have absolutely nothing. They're just like different humans, and then instead of having races, you have like a different thing, which is called I forgot what exactly they call, but like the type of kingdom. Like, do you have barbaric elves or do you have spellcaster elves, right? And that is the actual race. But they're just playing language games. And they're taking away something that I really liked about fantasy, because, like, the coolest thing that I enjoyed about fantasy, like, when you get into Warhammer or when you get into Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, was to read the lore about a particular race. And it was like, okay, what do they believe in? What are their customs? What motivates them? And then you imagine, like, how would it be like to live amongst them? Like, would it be fun to live amongst the dwarves in Warhammer? Would it be fun to live among the elves? But if everything is just purely genetic and bland, and feels like a corporation in California, now all the magic and the fantasy is gone. There's no more escapism. Another example is what they did to Star Trek Picard. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed in Season 1, but the Vulcans, the humans, and the Romulans, they all acted the same. There was no difference anymore between a Vulcan and a Romulan and a human. Like, they all had, like, good people and bad people. They both curse. They all behave in the same manner. So it's like, at that point, like, what's even the purpose of having the tribes? Taking fantasy out of fantasy, I swear to fucking God, these people are treating fantasy as reality, right? Like, they unironically believe that if Vegeta uses the bad words, he's going to get Trump reelected. This is their mentality. This is what they think. I'm curious if there's going to be a point in time where people will stop associating real life with fiction. Now, for those of you who aren't old enough, I will tell you, when I was born, the conversation that I heard, and this is like just the most bizarre thing ever, was that the violence in cartoons get kids to be violent, right? So, like, the violence from Tom and Jerry is getting people to be violent. And I saw this in an American movie. Like, that was my first interaction with this ideology, because, like, my parents never brought it up. That no one in my country ever thought about it, right? And then it was violence in video games. Then it was sexism in video games, causes sexism in real life. Now it seems to be with anime and fictional characters again, right? Like, will it ever stop, though? Will they ever go, like, no, you know, like, people can enjoy entertainment and hobbies are hobbies and leave them the fuck alone? No. They can't just do their localization and shut the fuck up. No, they gotta insert. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.